Okay, hello, welcome to my channel, and I have a video showing this concept is not that unique, but I believe as an experimental piece of production there's more room for improvement. I'm adding my voice to this work to make things clear to up and coming creators or filmmakers in the audiovisual space. I've written down a few remarks which I'll be presenting, especially if you are new in the audiovisual medium. So this is going to be my reaction to this video that I'm showing. Subscribe to the channel and let us get started. Before you begin a shoot of any kind, ask yourself what you are trying to do. It will be better to reduce the task to its most basic description. If you can encapsulate the story in one sentence, you are well on the way to reaching your goal. That is it. By giving yourself this starting point, you can expand the sentence outward until you have covered all the points in much detail as practical. Now let us move to the range of shots. As you can see in this video, there are two videos that I have put together. So let's talk about the range of shots. Just as a musician uses a finite number of notes to create a finished song, a photographer or a filmmaker uses a finite set of shots to create a story. The musician can vary the way each note is played, and there are infinite ways to combine notes. Similar to this case of the musician, the uniqueness of the photographer's art comes from the execution of fairly routine camera shots and movement. There is a specific purpose and design behind each shot and movement. Before we can talk about the composition within any frame, it may be helpful to catalog shots as they might be called for by a script or a director. Each type of shot sets a tone for the type of information contained in a frame. After understanding the type of shots required and their position relative to other shots in the story, we will examine their composition. A photographer has three basic types of shots available for use in any project. The first type is determined by the focal length of the lens. The second type is described by some type of physical movement by the camera. A third type is a group of shots used to serve specific functions in the production process. Remember that there are three types or the three basic camera shots, which are namely the close-up, medium shot, and the long shot. Okay, so let's talk about the long shot or the wide shot. The wide shot, or WS for short, that is a short term for the wide shot, is sometimes called the establishing shot or the master shot or the long shot, as I've already stated, and it is generally the first shot a photographer should take when shooting begins. It is almost important, or it is the most important, that you have the wide shot whenever you are having your shoot or you are starting your production. The wide shot is made with a short focal length and therefore a wide angle of view. This shot should include all the visual elements of the story or scene if possible. In this example of the two guys in the room, the wide shot will be used to cover or visually explain the original one-sentence description of the story. In this example, the wide shot should include the young men, the bed in the room, the curtains on the wall, and other electronic equipment. So that is well explained. So let's go to the medium shot. The medium shot, or MS for short, is the workhorse of most TV stories. It can be defined as the development shot. It concentrates on the subject with little attention given to anything else. If a wide shot shows someone from head to toe, then a medium shot should show a person from the waist up with a bit of headroom. Yeah, that is what we call the medium shot. So as with all shots, there is a need to maximize information when using the medium shot. In this type of shot, you do not need to show a person's subject. You need not to show a subject's relationship to the surroundings, but you must show more detail, or detail of who or what the subject is doing. So, in a sense, this getting closer to the subject makes us understand more detail of what the subject is trying to do, or what the subject is all about. So from there we come to the close-up. The close-up, or the CU shot, gives the intimate details of the subject. If the medium shot shows a person from the waist to the head, then with a bit of headroom, then the close-up would give a shot of their head and shoulders. Yeah, so that is the close-up. So the close-up can be thought of as a final shot of a sequence or fully expressed idea initiated in the wide shot. So in the wide shot, we establish what or where we are or who the subject is. Then the close-up or the medium shot will come a bit closer for us to get a revelation of who the character or the person we are trying to put across is. Then the close-up will give us more detailed information about the subject. The detail of the close-up on the subject or object will usually give the depth necessary for a good picture. The number of angles from which a close-up can be shot is often more limited than either the wide or the medium shot, because with the wide shot, the focal length is wider, or we are at a wider angle as compared to the close-up. The close-up is very tight, so normally we are limited. The variations lies in shooting the many different elements of a subject in close-up, such as the face, the hand, or even the feet. In other words, you can shoot a detailed close-up of every element contained in a medium shot. It is always a good rule to include some form of relationship to the medium shot. However, with this understanding, we can now start shooting in production. So, like I've already explained, I've given you three areas, three most important shots when it comes to audio visuals. We have the long shot, the medium shot, and the close-up. These are three basic shots that are always needed when doing a video shoot or when doing a professional production. When you make a film which usually lasts for a duration of 90 minutes, it is called a feature film. And during this period, you steal somebody's life or time, and so the viewer expects something in return. He or she wants to learn something or get some information. That is it. I mean, either you learn or you get something. It's the same thing. The first thing is that dramatic story is cause and effect. When we say cause and effect means that something happens, then it comes with a reaction. For example, if somebody should pinch you right now, or if somebody should hit you right now, it will come with a reaction. It's either you feel the pain or you retaliate. So that is how stories or dramatic stories do happen. Secondly, the story has a dramatic personality pursuing something emotional, and that becomes their objective. Because in real life, we all have objectives, and in stories too, the same thing happens. An objective which is good and worth fighting is the context of the character's world. So in stories, every character has his or her objective. Some want to be good, some want to be bad, and that is in the context of their world, what they want to achieve. That becomes their objective. Story contains obstacles, turning points, and character channel or growth. So we have characters going through a lot of channels, characters changing because of the what they are going through throughout the story. Some characters from the beginning are bad, then in the end they become good. Some characters are good, then in the end they become bad. So it all depends on the turning points of the character, and that is what is attached to the obstacle. The last one is in the feature film is that every feature film contains 1/3 turning point with 3 acts. Every story exists as a learning tool, and stories are complex. Yes, stories are complex because in our real life, which can be subjected to stories, there are also complex acts that we face in our daily lives. So film is termed as a moving pictures or a progression of action, or in another sense, there's a saying that there's another idea that film is a representation of life, and thereby borrowing from life experience, we are able to tell stories, either be it fiction or non-fiction. Stories always begin with the word "what if." Yes, what if? So what if a female became the president of Ghana, or what if a female became the president of America or United States? Okay, or let me say, what if one guy or one young man eats his brother's food without leaving him some? In any scenario like this, it will cause some kind of drama, and the rest of the elements needed to tell that story follows. Drama, on the other hand, one involves conflict, dramatic action serving an emotional need. The second involves the struggle, suffering, conflict, and also form part of the premise. And it also form part of the premise. Before embarking on any project, one needs to test the idea, if the idea will be possible. So with a little understanding of how things work in the film business, will make you a good storyteller or a successful business person. For some people, story comes to them through dreams. For others, it has to be through life experience, either by themselves or through other people's experience. For some, through research from the newspaper, through a book or magazine. So people are inspired through various means. Somebody can look through a dictionary, through a magazine, and get inspired or get a story. Somebody through a book or whatever, they can get inspirations or get stories from there, and they can use it for their production. So through all these means, people get to understand how story works. Making of film entails a lot. Before a film production can be made, there are some steps that must be followed. These steps are 3 in nature, and they are 1. The pre-production stage, 2. The production stage, and the last one, which is the production stage. So, let's go to the pre-production stage. The pre-production stage is also known as the preparation stage, and also the least, so let me take it again. The pre-production stage is also known as the preparation stage, and it is also the least expensive of all the stages, but it's one of the most important stages of the 3. Some of the activities that happen at this stage involve engaging a full-time production manager, or a PM for short. The production office is established or set up, and the production department crew is recruited. In big productions or in big movies, the production department crew is made up of production coordinator, production secretary, location manager, production accountant, transport manager, and the script supervisor. So it's a huge number when it comes to production. And casting of talent is done at this stage by the casting director, the director, and the producer. So the casting director, the director, and the producer engage talents, and at this period of the production, which is the pre-production, before the actual production starts. So heads of the various departments, that is at camera, sound, editing, are also engaged. In a professional or big movies, contracts and agreements are signed with cast and crew. During pre-production, location scouting is done to find the best suitable place for the story. So let us get into details of pre-production stage. As I've stated, or as I've said, that the pre-production stage is also known as the preparation stage. There are a lot of activities that go on during this stage. The production office is established, as I've said, or set up, and the production department crew is what is recruited. The production department crew is made up of production coordinator, production secretary, the lead actor, writer for the production, producer, director, who will lead the creative team, manager, who leads the creative team, location manager, production accountant, transport managers, production office assistants, and the script supervisor. So I think I've already indicated this a while ago, that casting is also done at this stage by the casting director in collaboration with the director and the producer, and the heads of the various departments are also engaged. They recommend the hiring of crew under each department. So the cameraman, that is the DOP, the soundman, the editor, also engage other members to work under the department, so that it becomes a team, because editors also need other editors to be with them, because it's a teamwork that goes on in the audiovisual space, especially when it comes to a movie production. The location can be inside a room, which is normally referred to as the interior, or outside, which is called the exterior. So in the film terms, when you see the inside of a room is the interior, when we come outside, it's referred to as the exterior. In most cases, such as big budget movies done in Hollywood or in any other big productions, the productions are done in studios, and they take so many things into consideration before they do it, because we need to know a whole lot of things when it comes to production, like the time of year, which is important to note, so that you will not be shooting during the rainy season, and you'll be having the rains coming to distract your shoot. So let's talk about the time of year. It is important to note that at the time of year you will be shooting, so that you know, for instance, the rainy season, where there are no longer hours, or so let's talk about the time of year again. It is important to take note of the time of year you'll be shooting, so that you know, for instance, the rainy season, where there are longer hours of day and shorter hours of night. The weather can affect exterior photography. It is good to inquire the weather before scheduling. Before knowing the weather, so let me take it again. Because knowing the weather helps so that there can be proper arrangement for special effects, stands, and for animals. All these are time consuming. Everything would have to be rehearsed well before shooting. There are some points to note when creating the schedule, because every production comes with a production schedule, to know the time, date, as to when production will begin and when it will end. So start with any fine date if you are aware of. If you want to go on production, you should know the time of year and know the time or the date specifically that you'll be shooting, and that will be something that you will have to label all the production schedule. So group your locations together, but plan first with the exterior shots if possible. So 3 factors. So as I've said, you group your location together, then you make sure that you look for the locations that are closer. So it's either look for the ones that are closer or the ones that are very far. It's either you shoot the one that is very far, then you come and shoot the ones that are very close. So look at proximity, right? Then you know when to schedule, either for day or night. Okay, so identify other special adjustments such as crowd, effects, stunts, animal that the film will demand. So if you want the crowd scene, when people will be coming in to witness or coming to support the production, you should know the time, or should know when you will need them, because you are dealing with the numbers, and numbers come with a whole lot of things. Because if a lot of people are on the set which are not needed, it will bring distractions and all that. So you need to know the time that the schedule requires them to be on set. So usually you should start the schedule with the easiest or the hardest one, so like I've stated. So if you have a script, normally they will give you a script. Then you look at the scene that is very long or the scene that is very, very short. So you can do away with the easy ones, or you can start with the hard ones. Let me put it that way. So usually don't schedule a lot of work for the first day, especially if the crew have not worked together before, because you will never know the strength of each of the crew members that you have. So normally it's not advisable to put a lot of work during the first day of shoot. You should proportion it so that you can know which actor or which crew member or whoever the production concern, how they are going to do it. So that one will help the production and it will help the crew members. The location, as I've stated, can be in the inside of a room, which you normally refer to as the interior, or outside, which is also called the exterior. The screenplay or the screenplay breakdown helps to identify the various locations and sets that will be needed to shoot a film or movie. So these are points that I've already said, that you need to have a breakdown of the script, then gives various indications as to what will be going on during the shoot. Locations must be carefully selected based on what is required for the various scenes of the screenplay. Once the locations are identified during the screenplay breakdown, someone must look for the locations. The PM or a location manager does this initial scouting. In most cases, such as big budget movies, which is done in Hollywood or any other big productions, the productions are done in the studios. So I've already stated it. If it's a big budget movie, sometimes they are done in the studios, depending on the time of year. Okay, they look for more than one location for each new scene or location described in the screenplay. Whoever does the initial scouting takes a 360 or panoramic view of each actual location. So the production manager goes around and does the location scouting. They usually have a camera to take shots of the various places the screenplay has stated. Other crew members may or can make suggestions to the PM or location manager for consideration. So this is a unified or it's a group work, and normally PMs will go around doing the scouting, but maybe a crew member would have a location that is suitable for the production and can suggest that location to the production manager. Okay, the picture of the video of the location taken are presented to the director. The director, with the help of the production designer and the director of photography or DOP, selects the location from the pictures to see whether the locations will fit the visual concept of the film, after which they have selected. So the pictures of the videos of the location taken are presented to the director. Then the director sits with the other crew members, especially the DOP. Then they go through the pictures that are presented. Then afterwards, they will select the ones that they see fit or the ones that they want. The director then takes them to the location. And this gives the team the opportunity to anticipate any problem that may arise at each location. Because sometimes you may see the picture alright, but you get to the location and you realize that something is not working. So before any final decision is made on the location, the director, DOP, soundman, cameraman, recorders, the lighting technician, and production manager must be taken to the locations. The team that selects the location is guided by a location checklist. The location checklist is made up of 4 main considerations, which is lighting, power, sound, safety, and security. So, which each department that has been mandated to be on the production, they make sure that all these things that I've labeled when it comes to the location checklist, they make sure that all these things are appropriate. Okay, location is not economical to be moving back and forth for a particular location. So all things that occur at a particular location or set are grouped. Shoot out that location before moving into other locations. Traveling from one location to another wastes time. Therefore, it is not advisable to schedule 2 or more locations that are very far apart in the same day. If the availabilities of locations, or if the locations will enhance the story, but they are very far apart, you would have to factor in traveling time in the schedule. The shooting schedule is prepared as to where, when, who are involved. Arrangement for equipment, transport, food, and logistics begins here. Production meetings are held at this stage. Rehearsals with artists are done at this stage. Arrangement for post-production facilities begin here. When it comes to production budget, the budget financial document is the Bible of a movie. Screenplay is known as the creative look of the production. The screenplay or teleplay decision is a budget decision. The producer or production manager must know the duration of the stages of the production and the format on which the film will be shot. Example: VHS, beta, DV, celluloid, memory card, etc. The number of days for each of the crew will be required, since you will not be needing the characters always on set, so each character needs to know when they will be needed and when they will not be needed. And then the cost of hiring the location, the duration of the equipment on usage. The budget you send to the financier is the preliminary budget, as it's an estimate. Budget, if it is time drive. Okay, so let me talk about the budget. The budget is the driving force behind the news for photographer. Money is what drives the production photographer. Before any work is done, a budget is set in place. Going over the budget can result in people and bills not being paid. Not the kind of thing you want to happen in the business world. In electronic film production, you can certainly say that time is money. This is especially true when it comes to the hours it takes to get something done. So if a flat rate of maybe 100 Ghana cedis is allocated to the payment of a crew member, then each member should have a reasonable expectation of how much work is involved for that amount of money. If the shoot starts to run longer than anticipated, then to cause a whole lot of happiness for the crew members. Coming up with the accurate budget can be one of the hardest responsibilities in electronic field productions. As an example have been illustrated, a miscalculation can cause the entire project to fail. Unlike news, every aspect of the shooting must be accounted for in that project's budget. That means figuring in the cost of everything from duct tape to the wear and tear on the camera. Budgeting and pricing will detail how to do an accurate budget that will keep you out of hot water and possibly bankruptcy in a court or put you in a bankrupt. So let's talk about planning. The factor that allows budget to be drawn up accurately is the extensive planning that goes into the electronic field sheet. To control the budget, every aspect of the production must be planned well in advance. Because you need to know whether you're going to need special effects. In the real world, nothing ever goes quite as planned. A good production photographer can be intimately involved in the planning process. If the photographer mixes up the entire crew, then he takes on the responsibility of being prepared for those unforeseen problems. On later productions, the photographer may be working for a production manager, but still would be included in any of the planning process. The best planning also includes what to do if things go wrong. What if it rains? Can the shoot be rescheduled? The EFP or the electronic film production photographer must always be able to assess each situation and problem and offer constructive alternatives that meet not only the budget but the client's goals as well. Then we'll jump to the script. The script is, let me say, the blueprint for what will take place in the film and in the edit room as well. So nothing gets done without the script. So like I said, the script is just like the blueprint for a new building, and gives each person or so it gives everyone the guidance they require to get the job done. In larger budgets and more sophisticated productions, the script is visualized in a series of drawings called the storyboard. Each shot is sketched out, so if every member of the production team knows what the finished product should look like. In smaller productions or in smaller productions where like crew members are a few, where the photographer is also known as the director, and there's a deliberate attempt to know the type of camera movement, the framing, and lightning, because all these things are determined by what? The script. Okay, so let me talk about exactly what you see in this video. It is not only an experimental piece of production, just that the characters are left to do their own thing or do their own improvisation. In some cases, only the professionals are able to do it well or do it better. But as newcomers, there are a lot of mistakes that usually happen. But in professional productions, production meetings are held at this stage, which is still the pre-production stage. Rehearsals with the artists are done at this stage, and then the production begins. To get the latest equipment in lighting and editing, sound, and all that, one needs to have a budget. So this is a recap of what I was saying. If the producer cannot finance the production from his pocket, he looks for a financier to provide funds for the movie for the movie. So example of financiers are film production companies, sponsors, banks. We can see that this was not professionally executed because there's no budget to start the process of production. Usually, a producer will seek for funding or use his own pocket money to make the production. In the absence of a budget, the production loses its aesthetic value. The budget is the lifeline of every production. So let me talk about the production stage. The production stage is the most expensive stage of the process because every hour of the day counts. The production stage normally involves the usage of the script or screenplay. The screenplay is a film script with the description of scenes and actions with accompanying dialogue. So it does not matter what kind of scenario or film you are making, you have to get a script to guide you or a screenplay. Sometimes storyboards are also made for the story. The storyboards are illustrations which enable the director or the crew to understand pictorially how the story will unfold on the screen. So the screenplay is what the crew members and the characters use before the production begins, and it helps to know whether the story is in linear or non-linear format. So a linear format of a story is that the story starts from A, B, C, D, then it goes on and on till it gets to maybe Z. But when it comes to non-linear, the arrangement of the story does not flow like that. Usually there are some pauses or there are some breaks in between. Most of these breaks can either be a flashback or a flash forward. The flashback, to my estimation or to my knowledge, I will say that is known to be the evocation of an earlier event put in a sequential order. So a perfect example of this is found in the movie Shebre. Another film that follows the same format is a popular pulp fiction movie by Quentin Tarantino. And in that movie, the director does not give all the information at once to the audience. When the characters are not given the script, they usually make mistakes. It is possible they will repeat the same thing over and over, and this makes things boring. This drags the scene and makes it boring to watch on the screen because the scenes are not properly scripted. Sometimes the cameraman who does not know the essence of a rehearsal is always feeding the characters. This does not make the characters unique. So during production, there are many things that are involved. The director who is responsible for bringing out the creativeness of the character on the screen for the audience to enjoy. The camera is also available to translate, or the cameraman is there to translate the director's words into pictures. So, with that being said, I think you agree with me that there are some lapses in the video that you're watching, although there are some good aspects of it as well. So with the cameraman being on board, he will be the right person to know the camera setup, the camera angles, the framing and all that. So when we talk about the camera setup, okay, so first let me talk about the camera angle. So the camera angle is the direction to which the camera lens is pointing. So wherever the camera lens is pointing, in the film terms we call it the camera angle. So it could be a high angle, or which implies that the camera is placed high, pointing downwards, or it could be low angle, which means when the camera is low, with the lens pointing upwards to take the picture. So that is the low angle. Framing is the amount of material that is being recorded. It could be either be a close-up or a medium shot. Just have already indicated when I started with the presentation. But in this video, there's not much thing, and most of the rules used professionally is not applied, and it makes it hard for the audience to relate, because there are no really much close-ups. So makes the audience not being able to identify with the main character. We are not able to see their facial expression, and also we are unable to get intimate with the characters. This is because we were experimenting with the production that we are watching. In the absence of light, the best we could learn was the sun, which is a great source of light. The sun would light the room and make the characters and other props look more beautiful. But it wasn't enough, because we know that the sun is the cheapest source of light, and the daily source of light, which is normally measured in Kelvin, is about 5,600 daily, or in the morning. The morning sun ray usually has 5,600 Kelvin. So with the sun being high up in the sky, it could have given us the opportunity to have more light in the room. So we should have opened the curtains and let in more light to get the needed effect. In the instances where we should have realized it earlier, then if we had it, or if we have thought about it, we could have changed the direction of the set and allowed the sun to be behind the camera and other equipment. In this way, the sun ray wouldn't enter the camera lens, and rather it will fall on the subject and make other things in the room more visible. So I'll quickly jump and come to my last stage, which is the production stage. Not the last, no. Before I get to the last, I'll go to the production stage. The production stage is the most expensive stage of the process. I think I've already talked about the production stage. So, with that being said, I'll quickly move to the post-production stage, which is supposed to be the last stage of production, because usually production begins, you get to the middle, then it comes to an end. So the post-production stage is the last stage of production process, and the activities at this stage include logging, assembling. Usually we use Final Cut or Premiere Pro or any other professional editing software during the post-production stage. Music score is done at this stage, and then sometimes there's ADR or automatic dialogue replacement is also done. Sometimes advertising, public relation, promotion, and other stuff is done at this stage. as the production comes to an end. So when we talk about promotion is the planning and manufacturing of film-linked products, which are given out to people to generate and sustain the awareness of the film or film title. This can generate a lot of money for the film, sometimes even more than the box office revenue. The film-linked products are also referred to as merchandise products. Merchandise is one of the form of production. Merchandise is one form of promotion that pays back its investment directly. The manufacturing company buys the right to use their film's character, title, or images on products. The merchandise products come in the form of posters, toys, clothes, basketball cap, balloons, pens, pencils, folders, games, and other franchise. Merchandise products are usually made for the die-hard fans of the movie to purchase in home. So usually that is what the merchandise or promotion of the movie through the merchandise adventure, that's what it's able to do. So let me give a brief history of merchandising. Merchandising started in the 70s or in the 1970s, and with the release of a movie like Star Wars, it gained roots in the film business. The demand for Star Wars toys far exceeded what the supplier could meet. The worldwide box revenue of Star Wars franchise has gone over $3 billion in retail business over the years. It is clear that the merchandising revenue for Star Wars far exceeds the box office revenue. The same can be said for Batman, Jurassic Park, and other great movies. The studios now give merchandising serious thought. Sometimes it is the determination, or sometimes the determining factor as to whether a movie will be made or not. Movies that are targeted towards children or juveniles more than not offer the broadest opportunity in terms of merchandising. So that is merchandising for you. I think I will go back and talk a bit about some other points that I think would be necessary for us to understand going forward as filmmakers. I think I've generally talked about what the audiovisual medium is all about, and I think let me talk about other stuff in this video. So when creating the video, there are a lot of things that goes on in the shots. For example, there's a third dimension. One of the first things you try to accomplish is the space that you have when you are shooting. So in the room, you realize that the space was not that enough because we didn't think about spacing when we started. So everything was loaded in the room, or it was packed. So we should talk about that, and we should think about it through next time, in case next time you want to do a video of that nature, or in case you want to do a big production. Secondly, lighting is a great way that will address what the characters are doing, because without proper lighting, the shots will not be nice, and the pictures will be looking flat. So lightning is another aspect that when shooting you should really take care or look forward to, so that your production will look unique. I think the third one will be on let me say the shots. So the use of the shots, let's know whether the shots, there's a foreground, there's a midground, and there's a background. Okay, so usually the use of the foreground in the simplest form, it helps to establish an area or object near the camera. So that is it. I think I've said some quite well, but some not quite well. So we will continue and come to alright. I think I've already stated most of the things that you'll be needing for production, which is from the pre-production, the production, and then the post-production. The post-production usually happens after the production has come to a wrap, and that's where the creative aspect of everything begins, because everything that has been achieved or shot during the production cannot be will only have a few changes when it comes to the post production. So that is what has been stated. So I think I will leave it here and advise that as filmmakers, there's supposed to be a think through, or not much attention needs to be given to productions if you want to make it more appealing to our audience, so that we become good storytellers and have the needed effect we want to have when people watch our productions, or how we can make ourselves proud in this case. So just as I've explained that the production stage is the most expensive stage of the production process, because every hour of the day counts. Activities at this stage include cast, crew, equipment, and other logistics assemble. Okay, so when filming begins in the production stage, the filming aspect is divided into 4 sessions, which is the blocking, lighting, dress rehearsals, and shooting. The daily cash flow is monitored and reported, and the watching of the rushes is done at this stage, which is every day before the set is struck down or before there's a wrap for the day, so that the directors and the cameraman then the entire crew will know that okay, the production that we did is intact. Everything is intact when it comes to sound and pictures before they leave for home, or before they leave for another shoot the following day. Okay, but before the production stage, the shooting schedule has to be approved. I think I've already stated this. The shooting schedule is a plan of the order in which scenes will be shot each day of the shooting or the production, and then so this helps for the production to be more efficient when it comes to the use of personnel, time, money, and other resources. The shooting schedule is therefore planned or designed so that scenes are put together in an order, and that they will have a minimum impact on the personnel, that is the crew, the money and the time, as I've already stated. Because if things are not proportional, or things are not there's no guideline, the production will have to keep on going back and forth, which, I mean, with this happening, it doesn't help the production to be of quality, because it will drag the production. So the following general guidelines to be taken in consideration when shooting, or when planning the shooting schedule. So when it comes to face, time, and date, the shooting schedule dictates the schedule of the production, and they are not flexible to work with. Okay, so the fixed date and time may come about as a result of the availability of locations, actors, special equipment, and maybe as a result of a deadline that one has to meet. The fixed date usually restricts the schedule to specific date and times. So with the production manager knowing the time of year, will come up with a date and time. They'll fix a date and time on the schedule. So it is up to the production crew to obey or to follow that order, so that everything will go on successfully. So let's talk about locations. As already stated, it is not economical to be moving back and forth for a particular location. So all the scenes will have to be grouped, especially the ones that will be occurring at a particular place or a particular set. Normally you shoot out the locations before you shoot out the location before moving to other locations. So locations that are closer or nearer are the ones that are first dealt with. You shoot the easy ones first, just like I stated, because traveling from one location to another wastes time. Therefore, it is not advisable to schedule 2 or more locations that are very far apart the same day, because it will, if the availability of locations with that, if the if the locations are very, very far, it sucks, or it pulls the energy of the characters, because that means that they will be under stress to perform. When they are on one set, there's pressure on the director that they should perform well, then they move to the next location. then if the next location is very, very far, and they sitting in a vehicle or a plane or whatever, they'll get tired when they get there. So it is advisable that the locations that are closer, should be dealt with or should be done with before you go to locations that are locations that are very far. So in that sense, it helps the characters and the crew to be able to adjust themselves better during the production. So when it comes to the cast, you do a cast or scene breakdown to know all the scene your cast are appearing in. This helps to group the various artists. You can plan around them so that you know that this scene 1 we are dealing with maybe 5 characters, scene 2 we are dealing with maybe 20 characters. So when you're able to group it like this, or when it's a breakdown, you will know when or where the number is huge or when or where the number is less. So in that sense, it helps the characters. So let's talk about exterior. It is always good that you schedule for exterior, but for TV situations, you should shoot interior instead. So with the audiovisual medium, normally there are quite some challenges that you face when it comes to exterior shooting. The wind can be a factor, the rain can be a factor, the sun can also be a factor. Sometimes we even call it force majeure, an act of God. So with that being said, most people will prefer that they shoot inside or interior. So normally it is advisable to leave one interior scene. So in case of any climatic situation, you can just switch to the interior scene so that you save yourself from not doing anything or not being able to shoot during the day. Because imagine it starts to rain in the morning and you don't have any interior scenes. It will worry the characters, because if it's an exterior shot that is happening on the streets and you've not made any provision for interior shots, that means that you waste the whole day without shooting. But if you have an interior shot, it will be nice for the characters to be inside. Then they can add something to dialogue to talk about even the rain that is pouring, and it helps the production. So when it comes to night shooting, it can also affect your shooting schedule, because it is difficult to shoot at night because people sleep at night and work during the day. So it will have an effect on your personnel, or in this case the characters or the actors and the crew members. And the slow shooting at night, so if you have too many night scenes, it is going to slow your shoots. Yes, usually night scene starts from let's say 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. or from noon till midnight. You see, so all these things have to be factored in when it comes to shooting in the night. Continuity of sequence. In some situations, you need 2 cameras to achieve sequence. For example, in a love making movie, or a scene in a love film, If the scene needs to be shot sequentially, it is advisable you don't do too many scenes for the day. Otherwise, it will drag the whole shoot. Okay, so that being said, I think I'll go back to my initial points about the script or the screenplay that I have stated that the producer and the director with the camera person will go over each sentence, indeed every word of the script, to find ways to illustrate the message that is being conveyed. Within the confines of the proposed budget, they will design the shots and the scenes that depict what the script is saying. They will come up with where the shooting will take place, how and where the camera will be positioned, what kind of actors are needed, all the props necessary, and how the action or the actions will be framed. If the script includes the emotions of the victims or families, and I think all of this will be done in conjunction with the actors, so that they understand what they are getting themselves into, because actors need to know how to pronounce certain words so that it becomes easy for them during the production. So I think I will end my presentation here. What I would say is never underestimate small beginnings. Keep doing what you know best, and you'll be proud of yourself. That whatever you decide to achieve in life comes with a big toil, but in the end you come out successfully, and be happy that you were once able to do a production of such magnitude, or you were able to fulfill such a mandate. So I will end my presentation here, and I will say that subscribe to this channel and share our latest movie, which is The Mysterious 2, which is streaming right now on YouTube, for others to also watch and appreciate what we are trying to achieve with the audiovisual medium, which is telling stories and educating people, for not only this generation but for the future generation and future not yet known, or the generation yet unborn. I would like to thank you for watching this video, and I know you've learned a few things from it. Remember to subscribe to the channel Pato Images and watch our other videos. Currently we have our entire movie titled Shebre, or The Inevitable, on our channel. You can go and watch and have a comment on it. We have made subtitles. That is where you get to understand the story very well. All the things that I've mentioned in this presentation, all the shots, the other technical aspect of filmmaking that I've mentioned here, you can find it in that production, which is the Shebre or The Inevitable movie. So kindly move to the channel, go to our videos, or you can type in Shebre, then into brackets inevitable. You get a chance to watch that production, and as I've mentioned in my presentation, you understand most of the things that I've been hammering on this very presentation. Thank you for subscribing, and share the video so that others can also have the opportunity to also watch it, and also try and be creative, or try and enter into the creative space as Africans, or as individuals who may love to go into that area. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you for taking your time to watch the video, and God bless taking your time to watch the videos and pushing it for others to also watch, so that we can also grow our channel, telling stories and educating people for not only this generation but for the future generation and future not yet known, or the generation yet unborn. Bye.